everybody, how are you doing today? Hey, I'm Eric Anderson. Just got to get comfortable here, and I am watching this channel called the Grid Grooves channel, where we take ideas from the 4-2-1 grid system and we just take that systematic approach to developing chops and we move them on to the drum set. So what you just saw right there was just me going through a very basic accent tap pattern where I'm playing one accent on each of the 16th note partials, and then I'm just working it through the grid in a systematic way. And you'll notice there that, like, what I like to do is that I just like to use different colors, the blue, the green, to the red, to the yellow, so you can see when we're switching from one accent tap pattern to the next. But as I played around with this, and I got very fascinated with the grid when I first got introduced to it, I thought long and hard about, that'd be something be cool to put together on the drum set, but I never actually sat down and did that until this whole time of COVID broke, where I just had an empty calendar and a lot of time on my hands, and this idea that I had not fully developed. So then I sat down and I started playing around with this idea, and this idea is what is the essence of what this channel is about. How can we take the developmental concept of the grid and how can we apply it to the drum set? So that's what I'm going to do today. Is that I'm just going to give you like a quick demonstration of just a couple of different ideas that I've come up with based on the grid. But before I launch into that, right, what I'd like to do is I'd like to briefly discuss exactly what the grid is. So like I said, the grid is nothing more than a systematic way that the drumline guys were using to develop their chops for probably about the last 40 years or so. And if you follow the color system is something that I use so that it makes it real quick and easy for me and my students to identify which part of the grid that we're in. But each color represents a different accent tap pattern in this particular grid. So like the blue grid, or the blue part of the grid, has the accent that lands on the beat. The green has the accent that lands on the of the beat. The red has the accent on the and of the beat, and finally the yellow has the accent on the E of the beat. So, and it's, we'll go into more detail later on about specifically how the grid works and how it functions, how it's designed, that is. But I really want to get to the drum set ideas. So what I want to do now, right, is I'm going to take this same idea of these 4 accent tap patterns, but instead of playing the accents on the snare drum only, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the accented notes to the toms, and I'm going to keep the snare, and I'm going to keep all the taps on the snare, right? So when you do that, I'll get my bass drum going first, and then I'll get just the 16th notes going, and I'll see if I can put this whole thing together of working the accented notes around the toms. But I'm not necessarily going to play accents, because just the different pitches from the toms will give you the accent pattern. So here we go. So 1. So that's one idea that I had, is this, that you can take the accents alone and just work them around your drum set in any fashion that you want. Come back to the taps on the snare drum and just see see how things unlock for you. But then I took it a step farther, and then I started throwing this idea around. What if I played just the accented notes on the bass drum while both my hands, while the hi-hat and the snare are just playing a basic rock beat, straight 8s on the hi-hat and the snare on the backbeat. Well, when you do that, you get something like this. So again, the bass drum is just going to play the accented notes of each 4 colors from the grid. So 1, friends, are just a couple of quick ideas to introduce you to this concept of the grid and how we can apply it to the drum set. In future videos, my goal is just to keep playing around with this grid system, playing around on the drum set and applying this grid system to the drum set and see what comes out on the other side. Over the time that I've been playing around with it, it blows me away because you can work this in 4/4 time like I was playing around with. You can also work this in like 6/8 or 12/8 time. And here soon I actually plan to explore odd time meters that we can put together and run through the grid as well, like 5/8 and 7/8 are a couple of good examples. So before I get out of here, I just want to ask and make a request of you, just like everybody else does on YouTube. Hopefully this information and this content is going to help you look for ways to get more creative with your drumming, and also find and discover ways that you can improve your chops by using this system that helps you to really just double down on your technique. If this information is offering any value to you whatsoever, if this information if you're liking it, if it's giving you ideas, if it's inspiring you and it's motivating you, do me a favor, please, right? Give me a like, give me a subscribe, definitely share this with your friends. But honestly and straight up, what I would really like to see more than anything is just comments and questions about the grid, about playing drums, about how I'm putting videos together. I don't really care what it is. I would love to have some interaction, because that will definitely help me get an idea of what I should be doing in future videos, because my single goal here is to take this idea of the grid and share it with you and enable you to take what I'm playing around with and use it to serve your own needs, so that you can grow your playing and your skills on the drums. So that's really it. We kind of talked about the grid system real quick. It's been around for about 40 years, and then I showed you just a couple of fundamental ways that you can apply these 4 accent tap pattern ideas and just move the accents around the drum set, or play them on the bass drum while you're playing a basic rock rhythm. So that's it, my friends. That's it for this week. Y'all take care and have fun, and I will see you on the next video. All right, bye-bye.